You're listening to the Murphology Podcast. Thanks for tuning into the Murphology Podcast, aka Murph here, to share interviews about biking experiences from cyclists who have pedaled to places all over the U.S. Each week, we will get to know new people and explore new destinations to ride your bike. As you listen to these adventures, you may wonder, why haven't I done that yet? Well, this is an episode I did for the JustGoBike podcast, which is a podcast about the social side of cycling with an emphasis on RAGBRAI. You can find more episodes at JustGoBike.net. So a few weeks ago, I caught up with Kenneth Rosales to talk about the ins and outs of being on a RAGBRAI team. He is part of the Tall Dog Bike team that has been on the RAGBRAI route since 1976. This would have been their 45th year on the big ride. So here we go, my interview with Kenneth. Well, hey, Just Go Bike podcast fans, aka Murph here for another edition of the Just Go Bike podcast. Today, I am talking with Kenneth Rosales. Hey, Kenneth.
How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing the best we can nowadays. No, I'm actually doing great here.
Yeah. It's such a weird time. That is a kind of a hard question to ask because, here we are recording this in the middle of May. And, typically now's a time when you are worrying about weather rather than worrying about social distancing. I mean, it's such a weird, I don't know, it's just so new for everyone.
Well, I'm a little different from other cyclists. I bike all year round, so the weather, I have no choice. I have to live with it.
Yeah.
I will bike in the winter, even in sub-zero weather, if I have to. I got rid of my car.
Oh, wow. So you don't have a choice.
Yeah. And I live downtown and I work downtown. It's not bad, but, when I have to go to the mall or something, well, it gets interesting. But I have 4 different types of bikes to pull me through.
Oh, cool. I do want to talk about that as far as, where you live and what cycling is like that. In that town. And of course, I love to talk about what kind of bikes you have. So I want to get to that later. But so the reason that I had Kenneth on this podcast is to talk about specifically a RAGBRAI bicycle team. And he is part of Tall Dog Bike Club. And I'm sure there's people out there that have heard of that team because it's been around for many, many years. And I always notice them because of your recognizable jerseys. They're nice, bright color. And I don't know if it's the same jersey every year, but it's similar enough that I recognize it and know.
Yeah, it's generally the same basic pattern. There are some alterations. We have a new one coming this year, but we've been around, first of all, for 45 years.
Woo! Wow.
Yeah. And there was going to be something on the Primal apparel that would have stated the 45th year had RAGBRAI gone through on there. But basically, what you see on the trails, I mean, you can't miss us. So we are very distinguishable, and basically they follow the same pattern.
Yeah. Well, so let's just think about this. You said the team's been around for 45 years, and this would have been RAGBRAI 48. So you guys, I mean, probably not you specifically, but your team has been part of RAGBRAI almost since the beginning.
Yeah, we started around 1976.
That is amazing. Well, let's get into a little bit about the Tall Dog Bike Club and maybe give us a highlight of how and when and how the club started.
Well, how I learned the history of the club, one of our it started out by 4 members. 2 of the members, the founding members of the team, was Dwayne Barton. He goes by Bart, and the other co-starter is Mike Leo. They were both teachers at Carlisle High School.
Oh, okay.
On our team, we have nicknames, so it's easier to remember nicknames than names on our team. So Dwayne Barton became Bart, and Mike Leo became Art, like Arthur Fonzarelli. That's because he kept lying about who he really was when he started RAGBRAI. And there was another person on the team, Lee Hackbarth. We just call him Lee Dog. He heard about RAGBRAI from these 2, and they were looking for a couple of other people to go on the team. he joined in on them. I mean, not even having, like nowadays you have to practice for RAGBRAI. I don't think he had much practice when he just wanted to go. He was a
Wow.
young kid back in the day. I mean,
So we're talking, this
uh,
is like the 70s that they are meeting up and deciding they're going to do this bike ride.
yes, and there was no such thing as chamois cream
Right.
or carbon fiber bikes or helmets
Right. They're probably
or
wearing
responsibility.
jorts and either a tank top or no shirt.
Yeah.
So are any of those original guys still part of the team?
Well, the people, I mean, Art and Bart passed away 5 to 4 years ago.
Okay.
I I never got to meet them. I joined the team 4 years ago. So it's sort of like that. It was a four-member group that decided to go, and then it kind of grew after 45 years. Now we have our president who says we have over 200 known members right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
And like, do all of those people choose to go on RAGBRAI?
No, and I didn't know this about RAGBRAI, and it kind of makes sense. They limit the large teams to at the maximum 120 people, I
Oh,
believe.
okay.
Now, how many people at the end of the day of each day are at the campsite? I can't promise you that because we have
Right.
people who don't ride.
Right.
They're kind of like our people who take care of the campground and all that, or the seniors on the team who've done they've done their share of RAGBRAI, but they're there for partying. So
Sure. But if you think about it, I mean, over 200 people, just the logistics alone would be a nightmare, for whoever is part of your crew that decides where you're going to camp. Like, how do you, I can't even imagine fitting that many people into a camp spot.
yeah, well, that's the one thing about being a team for 45 years. We've kept logistics of where we've all stayed every RAGBRAI. And also, we don't just have a president or presidents on the team. I'm actually part of the advisory committee
Okay.
for the Tall Dog Bike Club. So it gives him and her a little more room to do more things on there, and we help them out, especially when we make decisions for the club. Like we have one person in charge of once RAGBRAI is announced, where we have been in the past in those towns overnight. So that gives us a heads up, and then an edge against some of the other teams.
Yeah.
But with also having over 100 people on RAGBRAI, we just when we get to the part where we talk about how we do RAGBRAI,
Yeah.
we need certain facilities for a team our size. So
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So
yeah.
when you have that big of a team, is there any sort of process to become a member, or can just anybody become a member?
So we're the Tall Dog Bike Club. When someone joins the team, anyone who joins the team, they have to be sponsored by someone who's a member of the team,
Oh, sure.
and
Okay.
we call them pups, obviously on there, and we have to make sure that they can get along with everybody on the team. Every team's going to be different,
Mm-hmm.
big or small, and like even in our team, everyone's different too. I mean, you can't. We're all not clones of anything.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you have a love for cycling, you can deal with camping because RAGBRAI is also camping, and hopefully you're a social person. You don't have to be. We have some quiet people on the team, but the one thing I think this is the most important thing for us, and it's kind of a small thing, but when we're on RAGBRAI, if you can't bike up a hill, you are to take your jersey off because you don't want to be seen wearing a Tall Dog jersey and you
Oh.
can't bike up a hill. So
Oh, very cool.
I think that's one rule we have that has to be followed on the team.
Oh,
So
yeah. That's so I have been part of the same bicycle team for RAGBRAI since way back in the 90s. And, there's a few rules, like something like you just mentioned. But for us, and it's changed as we've gotten older, but back in the day, there was a song, it's called Tub Thumping by Chumbawamba. And it's like
yes,
the I get knocked down. So when that song would come on, wherever we were, the entire team would gather together and literally jump up and down the whole song. And so when we're all in our 20s, that was pretty fun and yay, we're having so much fun. Well, then now that we're all in our late 40s or older, it's more of like, yay, there's our song that we used to dance to instead of we just can't handle doing it anymore. So it's
Oh,
that's a long 3 minutes if you think about it. But so do you guys have any rules, to be part of the team, you have to do this, like what you mentioned?
besides from that, we want to make sure that with such a large team, we do have dues, and it's really small. It's like only $25
Mm,
for the whole year, and that takes care of like all the things we can do for the team, and we'll do some fundraisers along the way too.
mm-hmm.
But we just ask that we are in the 21st century. Social media is widespread, whether we love it or not.
Right.
And I will say that what the party atmosphere, what it used to be like in the early days of RAGBRAI, I don't think you'd get away with it right
Yeah,
now. And
right.
so with the times, I mean, we have to make sure that we're respectful. We also, one thing I always liked about our team, a lot of other teams know us, and like when we're biking, I always hear someone go dogs or
Oh,
something like that.
nice. Yeah.
So they know us, and that's the thing. I mean, we're respected in the biking community, which is cool, and we have to keep that respect by showing a positive focus when we're out on our biking. I mean, it's not always perfect,
Yeah.
but we try to be. So,
Yeah.
so
Well, tell us a little bit about the team. Like, you're saying there's hundreds of members, and of course, there's a wide variety, but is there like an average age, or are people from Iowa or across the United States, or just give us some highlights?
okay. Well, we all are in our 20s. No, not really. But I am going to be honest. I am 48,
Okay.
and I'm in the middle. I can't really say that because when we go on RAGBRAI, I would say like sometimes we have like 30 new members who go with us.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of hard when you look at our group. It's kind of hard to tell the demographics of our team by those who go on RAGBRAI. But I would say the people I know the most are more mature than I am. Let's put it that way, without
Mm-hmm.
putting an age range on there. So the team started in Carlisle, but the majority of the members, as the team got bigger, they all started from whom they knew living in Ames and going to Iowa State
Oh, okay.
from there. And they graduate, they move away, they grew. Des Moines, Ankeny, and Ames, that's kind of like our territory here in Iowa for the most part. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we have other areas in Iowa too, but that's where a lot of our Iowa affiliates are at.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of our team members are also in Kansas City,
Oh, okay.
especially in the Kansas side of Kansas City. We also have a large group that's in the Omaha, Lincoln area. We also have members in Michigan.
Hmm.
I think they're called the Moon Dogs. It could have been another group. I think that's a nickname they just gave them. And then I know we have members in Virginia, but we have them from all over the country. I mean, we have California and Colorado, Florida, and we have some members that live in Finland. They're native Finlanders.
Wow.
Yeah, we get them from all over the place here, and
Mm-hmm.
we have a few members now in Wisconsin and Minnesota. We're trying to break more into Minnesota if
Mm-hmm.
possible.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a big biking community up there. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard the trail system is amazing in the Twin City area.
yeah, they even have a bike highway there in the middle of
What?
near downtown.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
yeah,
Wow. Wow.
so
Well, let's get into specifically with RAGBRAI and when Tall Dog Bike Club is part of RAGBRAI. Tell us what your team, like what kind of RAGBRAI that your team experiences as far as, I assume maybe you have a team bus. You already mentioned that you camp, but give us some highlights of what that feels like.
like I said, we get about 120 people, and what we do is we don't have our own bus. We basically we there's an amount we pay to go on RAGBRAI. It's almost similar to what the registration is to register for RAGBRAI as
Mm-hmm.
well. Like I pay for my round trip bus that takes us to the start point and picks us up from the end point of RAGBRAI. So we have two charter buses that we take to go there, and then we have the rider truck that carries a lot of our camping gear.
Mm-hmm.
And we have these containers that we got from Menards
Oh, like a
or Home
plastic
Depot.
tub? Like a
Yeah,
plastic tub?
it's a plastic tub with two wheels on one end and a handle that pops out at the other end, and it makes it easy to put all your stuff, all your camping gear in there,
Mm-hmm.
and then roll it up into the rider truck.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a rider truck on there, but the big thing about our team, we have something called the gallows. It started once the team got just a little too big, and we knew that sometimes we just can't go to a fire hydrant or or a car wash station. So the gallows started off as a trailer with a bike rack on it, and it kind of grew from there. What it is now today, it looks like a gigantic trailer
Mm-hmm.
that opens up. With a team our size, we had to find a location that provides warm water and camping for about 100 people.
Mm-hmm.
So on one side of the trailer, it opens up to four all-you-can-use showers in there. Yeah, and they
Oh.
have privacy in there, so you don't have to worry about being seen, and you can change in there. It's unlimited use. so, so if you feel like you need another bath, I mean,
Right.
rather than paying another $10 to go in line for an hour, so that's one
Right.
thing nice.
Well,
The front of the
and we all know in late July that sometimes it's 90 degrees still at 10 o'clock at night, so you might need an extra shower.
Yeah, exactly. The front of the trailer has two sinks to, brush your teeth, and
Mm-hmm.
the inside, we have our supplies, and sometimes, like when we're leaving, we could store other things in there too. The public side of the whole thing is the other side of the trailer. It opens up into a tented picnic area. We could place like 4 picnic tables in there.
Wow.
We have a charging station, so we could charge all of our equipment, electrical devices. We hook up a flat screen TV. We have so many members. What we started doing the last year or two is we started posting pictures of our members and their names or nicknames, so that if you're new on the team or if you just forgot people's names,
You
you
can,
could
you
see
can
their name.
look at the wall to figure out who
Yeah,
somebody
but
is.
yeah, and then when we usually get back from a ride from the end of the day, we always have like a keg or cans of free beer waiting for us. I mean, there's also soft drinks. We have hot coffee in the morning, and snacks, and then we even have extra picnic tables for in case we have too many people sitting by, and then we usually have 2 or 3 kaibos with the whole thing. But that's generally our camping area, along with a couple pickup trucks maybe, and 4 or 5 members or groups of members who prefer to stay in their RVs.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even how you described it, I mean, you still have to sleep in a tent for the most part, unless you're the lucky people with the RVs. But you guys have it nailed in. I mean, having showers on site and a place to brush your teeth, plus, just the social side of things. It sounds like you've got it set up pretty well.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's usually a great end to our day when we see the gallows. That's what we call the trailer on there.
Yeah.
So, because the first thing I do, I get off my bike, I need a beer.
Right.
And before I even pitch my tent, I just grab a towel and I go straight to the showers. So.
Right. Right. Well, and you have everything right there. I mean, you've got your beer there, you've got your shower, and then once you cool off a little bit, then you can put your tent up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So, okay, the team's been around for 45 years or 45 RAGBRAIs, and then you said you've done 4?
I've done a total of 6. This would have been my 7th RAGBRAI.
Okay,
The
got it.
first 2 years, I was part of the Bike World Charter from West Des Moines.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Your team pretty much camps together, like you just described. Do you also try to ride as a group or small groups?
The only time we actually ever do that is the last 2 miles of the ride. For those who are still riding at the last day of RAGBRAI, we usually have scouts that go on the last day, and they will try to pick a site for all of us to meet up at, have a drink and relax, and then we all form in a line and we parade in town as one united team on there.
Mm.
But for the majority of RAGBRAI, you leave whenever you want to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has their pace, and some people have their groups they like to bike with.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them are families, so sometimes they just like to bike all together in the family.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some of us adopt ourselves into the group just to sneak in, but But a lot of times, it's usually in the lunch or meetup town. We will gather somewhere near the middle, and then everyone starts converging
Mm-hmm.
to the area once we see our yellow, green, and fuchsia and light blue T-shirts, so
Right. I was going to
our
say,
jerseys.
yeah,
So
I've definitely seen groups of you gathered during, throughout the years on RAGBRAI.
mhm.
Excellent. Any thinking back to your years or maybe the team's years, any funny stories that kind of come up every year that you guys talk about and laugh about?
Well, I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but but I'll
But
tell you about mine.
yeah.
So last year we started off in Council Bluffs, and some of us decided to go drinking at all the breweries in Omaha.
Oh,
Well, I okay, I should not have been biking, but that's you never say that on RAGBRAI. You
right.
just keep going. I fell asleep biking.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I was wearing my helmet, a brand new helmet with those gel things in the inside, those new gel things. So I have my mark from 2019 on there. But the funnier thing was where we camped in Council Bluffs. Two of us were really drunk. A friend of mine is a brewer at one of the breweries here. She passed out in her tent. Apparently, when they had the fireworks right next to our campsite.
Oh
I
no.
mean, they launched it off right there, and it woke everyone up. Everyone thought we were in a war zone. I didn't hear a thing.
You slept right through it or you were
Yeah,
passed out?
I just slept right through it.
Oh my gosh. God.
So
So back to your falling asleep on your bike, you said you have a mark on your helmet. Does that mean that you took a little tumble?
yeah, yeah. But fortunately, I fell correctly. Let's put it that
Oh,
way.
okay,
No
good.
damage, no damage to the bike.
Yeah,
So it
good.
was kind of embarrassing because I was only 2 blocks away.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of people listening right now are like, yeah, I've been there before. Yep, yep, yep.
we've all done something. That's why I don't want to discuss or get anyone in trouble
Right.
on my team.
Right, right,
So yeah.
right. Well, okay, so we already have talked about RAGBRAI and what your team is like on RAGBRAI, but do you guys gather, whether it's, in your major cities within each state, or do you do other events that you all participate in?
Before I answer that, going back to me falling asleep.
Yeah.
The reason that happened also is I bartend, and the night before we leave for the Saturday of RAGBRAI, I don't go to sleep.
Oh my
I
gosh.
usually get off work around 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and I have this constant fear of missing the ride. So I will stay up. And then the worst thing is, not really, a great thing is like on the charter buses, it's like any regular buses that or school buses that go on RAGBRAI.
Except you
We have
probably have air
we
conditioning.
we have air conditioning. We have a lot of tasty beverages.
Nice.
So that kind of led to it too. So
Yeah.
it wasn't just because I was drinking at the breweries. It was also because I had worked the day before. But I do this every RAGBRAI because I have
Right.
a fear of missing our departure time.
Right. Well, and I'm guessing as a bartender, at 3 o'clock in the morning, you're still jacked up from just working and getting things cleaned up. And then you go home and then you're probably like second guessing what you've packed or repacking or thinking
Well,
about extra.
if anyone knows me, yeah, I overpack. My sister will attest to that. And I go back through my things. I take everything out. It's like, what else can I get rid of, or what can I add? That's the worst part. What can I add?
Yeah.
So,
That's always me on RAGBRAI because I bag out to RAGBRAI. So I leave the week before and then pedal to the start of RAGBRAI. And so everything I need for it ends up being about 15 days has to be on my bicycle. And so I get everything toned in and then I try and get rid of 10% of it. And then it always happens. I'm literally getting ready to walk out the door and I'm like, I should probably grab one more sweatshirt or I should probably grab this and I need another pair of shoes. And it always happens. And then I'm still don't even use at least 15% of the stuff in my bags. But oh well, that's a different
that's what,
story.
yeah. Well, here in Des Moines, just for you to know, we have a party for all the baggers that are leaving that Thursday.
Oh, okay.
We call it the tunnel ride on the Great Western Trail.
Mm-hmm.
So on the Great Western Trail, there are like 3 or 4 tunnels we have to go underneath to go south to Cumming, Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
And the party technically starts in Cumming. And then there's a new section of the trail where they have a new sitting area. They start partying there until it starts really getting dark. And then they proceed to every tunnel and party there for about 30 minutes to an hour, maybe. And
Fun.
then to the next tunnel, to the next tunnel.
Yeah.
And we're just celebrating all those who are leaving for RAGBRAI, bagging, that is,
Yeah.
the next day.
Oh, that sounds fun. I
So you
wish.
might be interested in that if you want to stop in Des Moines before,
Yeah,
although it might be out of your way, but
that sounds fun. It would be
yeah.
fun to do the tunnels. That would be very fun. So, okay, where was I? Oh, what other events does the team participate in?
Well, one of the main events our team sponsors is Candango. Have you heard of that one?
No, I haven't.
It's a ride on the weekends in Kansas, and I really am not sure what the term Candango means. Obviously, Kansas for the KAN part
Yeah,
of it
yeah.
on there. It's usually at the end of May, and unfortunately, we had to cancel it this year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about 85 miles each day. I mean, most people stay at the hotels, but I mean, you just can't ride the whole day. Go around the near Manhattan, Kansas, I believe. But I think the route changes every year. So, but they have a fall one too, a smaller ride on there. We participate like in a lot of the events in Des Moines. I'm not sure about like I said, Des Moines and Kansas City are two main areas, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to speak for just the Des Moines part. Like we do the mayor's ride or the fun haters ride, which is the same day.
Mm-hmm.
We gather together for the burr ride, the bike ride to Rippey in the end of January, early February.
Mm-hmm.
It's only like 14 miles, but it's cold.
Mm.
And the precursor to RAGBRAI is the Bakun ride in Des Moines.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been on that one?
Yeah, I'm actually, or I used to be one of the organizers, because
Ah,
that is a RAGBRAI and Iowa Bicycle Coalition event. So yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so I always see a lot of us there. And then we have two events that we do, and one had already just passed, but obviously we had to cancel that too. We have the Tall Dog Weekend, and we do one for Des Moines, and then the Kansas City one was going to be in October. And what we do is we ride out the whole weekend. We stay at host homes. Usually, from what I heard, there's usually about 40 to 50 people that join up for that too.
Fun.
Yeah, and then in I believe it's September, we have the Art and Bart ride to commemorate our original leaders of the team.
Mm-hmm.
We bike out on not the Great Western, sorry, the High Trestle Trail starting in Ankeny,
Oh, okay.
and we head out to Woodward.
Mm-hmm.
And most people don't know this, but there's a shelter right at the High Trestle Bridge on the Madrid side, just before you go on the bridge. There's a plaque there named after our original leaders on the team.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check that out next time I'm there.
Yeah, and then the town of Slater, I call that our tall dog territory because that's where we keep the gallows. We have some of our teamers who live there too. So there's an event we're going to do to substitute for RAGBRAI.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So hopefully it's not sound yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll see how
Well,
things
and
go.
who knows, yeah, how long we'll be in the state we're in right now, but
Yeah.
I don't remember if you actually mentioned it, but I feel like, as long as we've been talking that I'm guessing that you're from the Des Moines area. But do you want to briefly give us a highlight of what cycling is like in the Des Moines area?
Well, first off, I'm originally from Long Island, New York.
Oh, okay.
And I've been biking since my dad gave me his bike since I've been 14. When I moved here to Iowa, I mean, I was given a mountain bike because I was going to Iowa State and I needed a sturdier bike. My current roommate, I've known him now for 5 years. He invited me on a bike ride one day and I had my mountain bike. He and my other friend had road bikes. I think you know
What happened?
what happens here. And I kept up. And but at the end of the ride, I was spasming big time. And then I knew it was time for a road bike.
Right.
I started road biking, and then that's how I started meeting new people. And the community here, I think it has grown. And as bad as the pandemic is for the whole world, I think it's kind of a weird blessing for bicyclists because I've been reading it, like there's been a surge in people buying bikes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have a lot new cyclists on here. But one thing I've also started doing was becoming a fat tire biker and a bagger biker. So we have a lot of bagger bikers here. We
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of road bikers too. And we have a lot of interconnecting trails here in Des Moines, I can literally like bike from, and I live in downtown. I live in Sherman Hill, very hilly part of it. So when it comes to RAGBRAI, I'm already hill trained. I have very big calves, so and that'll prove where I live. And yeah, our trails are very interconnected, like the Great Western Trail, the Neil Smith Trail, the Green Belt, and then there's the Chautauqua Trail. But and it's ever expanding because now we have the Raccoon River Trail. They're building a 7 mile connector to the High Trestle Trail, which
Mm.
will becoming the largest trail system in the country. They're already doing a trail from southeast Des Moines to Lake Red Rock and Knoxville.
Oh, okay.
So there are all these planned trails that they're already constructing on. I didn't know there was a trail going southeast that's going to make it easier for us because there's some parts we still have to take roads on.
Mm-hmm.
But the community has grown a lot. Tuesday is a very popular day especially on the Great Western Trail. We call it Taco Tuesday. Go down to Cumming, and they used to have Taco Apocalypse there, but now they have a taco truck there.
Mm-hmm.
So, and sometimes in this little small town of Cumming, there are times I've seen like 400 people
Wow.
just there in
On a
one spot
Tuesday.
on a Tuesday.
Yeah. Well, I can
I
tell.
prefer to go on Wednesday when it's steak night there. But
Oh, there you go. Yeah. And I love Bob at the Coming Tap. He's a great guy. I've been friends with him for a long time, so I need to give a shout out to the guys at the Coming Tap.
yeah, I know. Hurry up and open.
Yes, I know. I'm sure they're thinking the same. Well, you as a bartender, I'm sure you're thinking the same thing as well. Like, come
Yeah, but he
on.
wouldn't. He wouldn't even sell beer to go. That was the funny thing. So I
Oh,
think
that's a
he.
bummer.
Yeah, I think he's just out golfing. So.
Yeah.
Uh, but the other thing also about biking in Des Moines, there are several spots where we all gather. Obviously, we can't gather too closely.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of the bridges and some of the trails, there are places where we all congregate and hang out. Areas of Des Moines, Gray's Lake just got a brand new rainbow bridge,
Mm.
and a lot of people have been meeting there to, for a rest area before they bike out either to like West Des Moines or Carlisle or Ankeny. That's the one thing. Like all the suburbs, you could probably meet those people on our trail system when you're living downtown. And another thing is our number of breweries is increasing here.
Oh, and on the trail. Like
Oh
you
yeah,
have
and yeah,
breweries on your trails. It's just
yeah,
great.
yeah. A lot of the small towns they understand that they'll make more money if it's on a bike trail.
Yeah.
So ironically, when the shutdown started happening, I was in Dallas,
Oh.
and downtown Des Moines has more breweries than the city of Dallas,
Oh.
which I found strange. But so it shows how our culture is a little different here, and the bike lanes are starting to be everywhere. And I think this city is a lot more biker friendly than most cities, especially like Dallas. Dallas is not a biker friendly city.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing I appreciate about our city here.
Yeah,
Um,
I get to Des Moines. Well, I mean, not during this pandemic, but back in the day, I would get to Des Moines, I don't know, maybe once or twice a month, just to hang out with friends or the RAGBRAI crew. And the biking is so easy because for me, I'm not familiar with all the different suburbs and such, but the signage is so great. I mean, you can be downtown and know Confluence Brewery is this way, or the library is this way, or like it was very easy to get around as far as avoiding traffic and just knowing which way to go.
yeah, and one thing we also have here, I mean, because of social media, there are a lot of biking group pages on there.
Oh, okay.
The big one, like the one I'm on, is called Who's Riding. It's supposed to be just for Des Moines, but it could be for anyone in the state.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no G in riding on there, so in case you look it up, I think it has over 3,000 members,
Mm-hmm.
and so we get to know ask where everyone's biking, if there's any specials going on at any of the bars,
Nice.
and then of course, the dark thing here, we also have another group page about bikes that are stolen.
Yeah.
So and it's kind of nice because we've actually recovered many people's bikes by
Mm-hmm.
posting it on there,
Mm-hmm.
and we all try to work as a community just to look out for people to see if they see their bikes, because we have some people who are just not keen, and especially when they're riding a $3,000 bike and they're not wearing a helmet and just wearing jeans. It's like,
Right.
yeah,
It doesn't look right.
yeah, it doesn't look right.
But
So,
that is the nice part about, Des Moines is a big metroplex, lots and lots of people, but the biking community is, I would consider it to be pretty tight, meaning like what you said, if a bike's been stolen, you post a photo and everyone's going to try and look out and find that bike or find something fishy going on in the neighborhood.
one thing cool about our trails, I can easily bike to Ames from downtown Des Moines.
Oh, wow.
It's a 3.5 hour bike ride, and it's all on trails too. And there's only one part. There's the last 10 miles between Slater and Ames. It's a trail, but it's right on the main road.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I mean, it's there for us. So
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
And there are bars along the way too.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, when you're not out biking, where can you be found? Like, are you into other outdoor sports or working or advocating or anything like that?
Well, if I'm not bartending, one thing I started doing in January is I've been going back to the gym, and I'm actually happy that the governor has decided to open the gyms to 50% capacity, which is great because I only work out at night, at really late at night.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when I get off work from bartending, I go straight to the gym. I'm usually at the gym.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an avid photographer, and I guess, especially on Who's Riding, and there's another site, I'm sure you heard of it, it's the Social Distancing Bike Club.
Mm-hmm.
That's on Facebook.
Yeah.
People have been liking, I've gotten better at my photography, and if you're ever on those two sites, or who knows what'll happen in the future, you'll see a lot of my pictures there. So.
Oh, excellent. I'm going to have to check that out.
And then if I'm not on the TV watching sci-fi, you'll probably find me at a brewery or a sushi bar.
Yeah, both sound awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. All of that stuff's back open again.
Yeah.
And safe.
Exactly.
I guess just to qualify that and say and safe. So.
And safe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I biked up to Ames, so it felt weird this past Sunday, and it felt weird sitting at a restaurant.
Oh, you were able to?
Oh, yes, you were able to there. And then some of the bars were able to open because they served food. But it was funny because it felt like nothing had changed.
Oh, wow. How weird is that? Yeah.
So normalcy it's slowly coming here, but
right.
We'll take it little by little.
Yeah, yeah. Well, going back to Tall Dog Bike Club, when you think about a bike club, it's a little bit different than solo riding because typically, like you mentioned, there are times when your whole team bikes together, and then there's the social side of things, and then there's just, being able to communicate with people. Any advice you would give to somebody who's never biked on a team?
Yeah, I would say be social. It's like being in a fraternity or sorority.
Yeah.
When you're with that number of people, I mean, you're paying to be a part of this group, especially on RAGBRAI.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great way to make friends. Like being quiet doesn't always help, although it does help one person on our team. His nickname's Silent Bob.
Oh, okay.
But no, I mean, we're always going to help each other out, especially if someone gets a flat or something like that. I would just say, just let loose. Just make sure that when you wear that jersey, you're wearing it with pride, and you could be a fool, but don't. I was going to say jackass on there. But don't be a jackass, or don't be mean,
right?
Or something like that. Because I mean, you're representing, when you put that jersey on, you're representing a team in 45 years of history on there.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, have fun. And we're also, just like the people on the Air Force, if you see somebody having trouble, ask them if they need any help, from there. And just keep drinking, I guess.
Well, and I think,
and riding. I keep drinking and riding.
I think you can learn a lot when you join a team because you're forced to do things that maybe you don't normally do when you're by yourself, meaning, you have a little bit of an agenda, you want to meet up with your team at the end of the day, those sorts of things, but also just like simple, like etiquette when you're in a crowded road full of bicyclists, like, saying on your left or saying you're passing or saying you're stopping, like those things when you're by yourself, you don't even think about.
Oh, a lot of our members, they do bike in groups. I'm one of those type of people. I will go at my own pace, and then I will join. If I see some, I will join them
Mm-hmm.
for a little bit. But then I'll stop all of a sudden and say, "Oh, I want to take a picture."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a photographer too, and or some people don't want to stop to eat or they don't want to stop to drink. I might want to. I may not want to. I always try to converse with other teams and other people on there, and of course with our team too, because it feels more. I wouldn't say safe, but I it's like the safety of a group. Or like we're all a family basically. When you join our
Yeah.
team, it's basically a family. So it's like, oh, okay, I'm with company. I'm relaxed. I could relax now. Sometimes they know what I want before I even open my mouth. So
Well, and that's kind of the fun of it is because, like you said, you can go off on your own, do your, photography or run into friends that maybe you only see once a year. But then when you're ready to be with a group, you just look for your jerseys and be like, all right, there they are. I'm going to go hang out with them for a while. So it's pretty
yeah.
cool.
Oh,
I think teams are a value.
yeah, you don't realize what you're missing. I mean, some people go on the charters, some people like they go solo on there and rough it out, but it's always nice to know that there are others like you on the same team on there. It's a kind of a weird experience after being on 2 years with a charter company.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember I would get back to the camp and I would try to socialize, but people just wanted to be on their own,
Sure.
or on there. And one thing nice about a group, everyone has their agenda when they're on there. Some people want to relax and or go to bed early. Some people will party till the end of the night.
Mm-hmm.
You have options.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Yeah.
so on
Yeah.
there. We have some team members. I know like RAGBRAI is supposed to end at 6 o'clock. You should be in the overnight towns by 6 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
We have some members that like to be with the baggers, and those are still behind
Mm-hmm.
and don't come until like 10 or midnight.
Mm-hmm.
And I made it a ritual. That's the one thing about groups. You can start doing rituals. I, I try to do a ritual of one night where I stay out late
To
and
go.
make it
Yeah.
into camp late.
Yeah.
So I want the full experience of RAGBRAI.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah.
And it doesn't hurt to have somebody in line and say, "What do you want? I'll get it for you."
Yeah,
That's the
if you always get the same thing, you can just, as soon as somebody sees you, they can place your order.
Yeah. So, but my main thing too,
Yeah.
I am terrible with directions. When I get into the host town, I have no clue where north, south, east, or west is.
Oh, right.
When I see one of our jerseys, it's like, oh, okay, that's where my safety thing comes in. It's like, thank goodness,
I'm going to make
I
it.
found somebody. So, because our phones don't work on RAGBRAI a lot of
Yeah, the
times.
small
So,
towns, I know. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
so,
Well,
so
good. Well,
strength in numbers.
yeah. Yeah, being part of a team, I think there's a lot of value in it, and it sounds like the Tall Dog Bike Club has been around long enough to know how to do things right at this point. It's pretty cool. I'm glad I got to meet somebody from the team.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Anything you want to like plug as far as maybe a passion or donations or organizations that you're part of?
Well, the one thing is, like I said, I'm a photographer, and
Yeah.
I'm being told by a lot of people I need to do something with my pictures.
Mm.
I do have a friend. He lives half the time in New York, half the time in Iowa. He says he would like to put it in a gallery. It's like, wow, really? It's like, I thought he was joking, but he's not joking. So it'd be kind of nice, especially I try to show the human aspect of RAGBRAI.
Yeah.
And even biking, it's not just about me taking selfies. And I'm also good at taking pictures of trying to make Des Moines and wherever the biking scene is look very pleasing on there. Another thing our group does is we're trying to raise money. We were supposed to try to raise money for the. I'm trying to make sure I don't destroy their names. John Karras and Donna Call.
Yeah.
The originators of RAGBRAI are trying to raise money for their statue, to place
Yeah.
their statue in the park in Waterworks Park.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure where that's going at the moment on there. We have one member of our team named Jamie. I apologize, Jamie, if you're listening to this, but I totally forgot the name of your organization that she's in. But every Thursday in Des Moines, they give out free burritos to the homeless.
Oh.
They bike out there and she helps out. So some members of our team, we donate money or our time so we could help out those in need too.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Well, Kenneth,
And also,
yeah.
also because I'm out of work as a bartender, if you ever see me on the trails, I mean, a free beer, a free shot here and there, it doesn't hurt, you know.
Perfect. Yeah.
So, well, they've been doing that to me anyway, and I try to repay them back too. So,
Yeah. All right. Well, if you see Kenneth out on the trails, maybe make sure you have a cold one for him.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, Kenneth, thank you so much for being on the podcast and sharing, a little bit about you and also about the Tall Dog Bike Club. And hopefully we have some group rides coming up in the future and we can see all the teams.
Depending on how the situation will be by the end of July, some teams like ours, we're going to have a 3-day weekend.
Mm.
We will have one designated point and see where we can bike from out of there and just come back. And there's a bar there called the Nighthawk. It's a very popular bar for our team. We just go there. I've heard from other teams like Team Medium Pace and some others that they're thinking about doing somewhere in the state of Iowa too. So hopefully we'll hear more about it. And I know like RAGBRAI said that they will try to do some mini rides for us. Release some of our RAGBRAI tension.
Yes, we definitely need to do that. So
yeah,
good. Well, we'll all keep our eyes out on social media, and thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kathy.
Well, listeners, that's it for this week. A big thanks to Kenneth for sharing some great stories about cycling with the Tall Dog Bike Club. Makes me miss RAGBRAI a little more than usual. You can check out MurphologyPodcast.com for more of my interviews with adventurous cyclists. And for now, I leave you with this quote from the Unwritten Book of Murphology. This quote comes from Sullivan's observation. If you rely on Murphy's Law, everything will go as planned, but don't count on it. Think about it.